Welcome the rare gems. Ever wondered why some women seem to stir up unease just by being themselves? Sigma females have that effect. They're independent, don't seek validation, and move through life on their own terms. This often makes them stand out, and not always in a comfortable way for others. People can see them as a threat, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they're breaking the mold. They don't fit into society's expectations, and that can ruffle feathers. In a world where fitting in is often the norm, the Sigma female's refusal to conform challenges everything. Let's get started. Rare gems. I recommend watching the entire video to get a better grasp of the subject. Number 1. Perceived arrogance. Sigma. Females often face misconceptions of arrogance or aloofness because of their strong sense of self-worth and independence. Their confidence and self-reliance can be perceived as a form of superiority by others, even though this is far from their intention. When a Sigma female is comfortable in her own skin and doesn't seek constant validation from others, it can make those around her feel insecure. For instance, if she confidently makes decisions based on her own values rather than conforming to group norms, it might seem to others like she's dismissive or uninterested in their opinions. In reality, she's simply grounded in her beliefs and not swayed by external pressures. This can create a ripple effect where others who rely more on social feedback and approval feel overshadowed or diminished by her unshakable self-assuredness. They might interpret her independence as a lack of engagement or warmth, leading to an unfair perception of her as distant or arrogant. In essence, Sigma females' self-reliance and strong self-worth are often misunderstood. Their confidence, rather than being a sign of disdain, is a reflection of their personal strength and self-understanding. This misinterpretation can lead to resistance and negative attitudes from those who feel their own need for validation and approval is being challenged. Number 2. The unsettling truth teller. Sigma. Females often act as unsettling truth tellers, confronting and speaking about uncomfortable realities that many would rather ignore. Their straightforwardness about societal norms and personal limitations can be deeply unsettling because it forces others to face issues they'd prefer to avoid. Picture someone who doesn't shy away from pointing out flaws or inconsistencies in social norms. While many people might tiptoe around sensitive topics or offer vague reassurances, Sigma females address these issues head-on. They might highlight uncomfortable truths about societal expectations or call out personal weaknesses and limitations with brutal honesty. This direct approach can be jarring. For instance, if a Sigma female critiques a widely accepted but flawed practice, her comments might make others feel defensive or attacked. It's one thing to hear a critique from someone within the norm. It's another to hear it from someone who's not just challenging the status quo, but doing so with a level of clarity and conviction that makes the discomfort unavoidable. Their willingness to speak these hard truths can force people to rethink their own beliefs and behaviors, which is often uncomfortable. This challenge to the comfort zone can provoke a defensive reaction, as people may resist acknowledging or dealing with these uncomfortable realities. In essence, Sigma females' role as truth tellers can disrupt the status quo and trigger defensive responses, not because they intend to offend, but because they compel others to confront difficult truths they might prefer to ignore. Number 3. Rarity in role modeling. Sigma females are often seen as a threat because they represent a rare and less understood archetype. Unlike more common social roles, Sigma females are unique in their approach to life and success. This rarity makes them stand out and can cause their actions and intentions to be misinterpreted by others. Imagine someone who doesn't fit into traditional roles or behaviors. They might not follow the usual paths to success or interact in conventional ways. Because they are so different from the norm, their behavior can seem puzzling or even unsettling to those around them. What's familiar to most people is not what Sigma females embody. Their independence, self-reliance, and unconventional methods can be misread as strange or threatening simply because they're not what people are used to. This lack of familiarity often leads to misunderstandings. People might see a Sigma female's unique approach to life and think she's being standoffish or dismissive, when in reality she's just operating outside the usual expectations. Her rarity makes her actions stand out, and because they don't fit into traditional frameworks, they can be viewed with suspicion or resistance. Essentially, the very qualities that make Sigma females exceptional are also the ones that make them harder to understand. This unfamiliarity can provoke a sense of threat in others, who might react defensively to what they perceive as a challenge to the status quo. Number 4. Their quiet success shames loud mediocrity. Sigma females have a way of achieving success without making noise. They don't feel the need to brag about their accomplishments or seek applause. Instead, they let their results speak for themselves, quietly moving through life, collecting wins that others might not even notice until it's too late. This silent competence is unsettling for those who crave constant attention and validation. In a world where so many people equate loudness with importance, Sigma females are a stark contrast. They don't need to announce every milestone or seek approval from their peers. For them, success is personal, and the validation they care about comes from within. This approach often leaves others feeling embarrassed or insecure, especially those who need to be seen to feel significant. What makes this more striking is how effortless it seems. While others exhaust themselves in the spotlight, desperate to be noticed, the Sigma female quietly makes strides, achieving what others loudly claim they're working toward. It's not that she's trying to outdo anyone, it's just her natural way of being. But in her quiet progression, she exposes the hollowness in those who rely on external praise to feel accomplished. The real threat here is that Sigma females show there's a different way to succeed, one that doesn't depend on noise or spectacle. And for many, this quiet success is a reminder of their own mediocrity. Thank you for being a valued subscriber. Your continued support is incredibly important to us and inspires us to keep producing meaningful content. We truly appreciate your engagement and dedication. Number 5. Quiet, calculated defiance. Sigma females often embody a form of quiet, calculated defiance that can be both surprising and unsettling. Unlike more overt forms of rebellion that might involve loud protests or direct confrontations, their defiance is expressed through subtle, strategic actions. They challenge mediocrity and social conformity not by making a scene, but by making choices that quietly disrupt the status quo. Imagine someone who consistently opts out of mainstream trends, not out of a desire for attention, but because they've carefully considered what aligns with their own values and goals. This strategic nonconformity can be more impactful than any loud declaration of resistance. Their actions often go unnoticed at first, but over time, they create a ripple effect that subtly shifts norms and expectations. This quiet defiance is powerful because it's not about seeking attention or creating drama. It's about making deliberate choices that reflect a deep commitment to personal principles. This approach can catch others off guard because it's not brash or noisy. Instead, it's razor-sharp and precise, challenging the conventional paths and expectations without fanfare. The calm, calculated nature of their rebellion highlights a profound strength and clarity of purpose. It's this quiet intensity that makes Sigma females a formidable force, revealing a form of resistance that's both sophisticated and hard to counter. This unexpected approach can unsettle those who are more accustomed to visible or confrontational forms of challenge. Number 6. Unafraid to walk away. Sigma females possess a unique strength that most people find intimidating: the power to walk away. Whether it's from a relationship, friendship, or job, they know when something no longer serves them. They don't stay out of fear, guilt, or obligation. When they realize a situation has become toxic or stagnant, they make the tough decision to leave, and they do so without hesitation. This ability to cut ties and move on sends shockwaves through those who rely on manipulation, control, or emotional attachment to keep others tethered. For many, the fear of walking away comes from uncertainty or a need for comfort, even in bad situations. Sigma females, however, are wired differently. They don't see walking away as a failure or a loss. They see it as self-preservation and growth. They understand that staying in situations that drain them only holds them back from achieving more. What's most terrifying to others is the ease with which Sigma females make this choice. They don't look back, and they don't second-guess their decision. Their emotional detachment in these moments is unsettling for those who expect them to linger in the toxicity. This strength, this refusal to settle for less than what they deserve, makes Sigma females a force to be reckoned with. Their ability to walk away isn't just about self-respect. It's about knowing their worth and refusing to compromise it for anyone or anything. Number 7, immunity to peer pressure. Sigma females are often perceived as a threat because of their remarkable immunity to peer pressure, which can unsettle those around them. Unlike many people who might change their behavior or decisions to fit in with the crowd, Sigma females stand firm in their own values and choices regardless of external influence. This steadfastness can be particularly unnerving because it exposes the limitations of conventional social pressure tactics. When others see someone who doesn't bend to social expectations or feel the need to conform, it can highlight a vulnerability in their own strategies for influence. For example, if a group tries to push a certain trend or behavior, a Sigma female's refusal to follow along can make the group's attempts to sway others look weak or ineffective. This resistance can feel like a challenge to those who rely on peer pressure as a tool for getting others to act or think a certain way. It forces a reevaluation of how social influence operates and reveals that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Sigma females' ability to stay true to themselves despite external pressures can make others question their own susceptibility to social norms and expectations. In essence, Sigma females' immunity to peer pressure doesn't just make them stand out. It can also inadvertently undermine the very mechanisms that others use to navigate social dynamics. This creates a subtle but powerful sense of threat to those who are more dependent on these conventional tactics for influence and validation. Number 8, authenticity as a challenge. Sigma females' unwavering commitment to authenticity and personal integrity can be a profound challenge to those around them. Their genuine nature and adherence to their values often shine a light on the inauthentic behaviors and facades maintained by others, creating a sense of discomfort and defensiveness. Consider someone who consistently acts in alignment with their true self, expressing their values and beliefs without compromise. Their authenticity is not just a personal trait, it's a living example of how to live genuinely. When Sigma females interact with people who are not as forthright or who wear masks to fit in, their honesty and integrity can inadvertently expose these facades. This exposure can make others uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their own lack of authenticity. For example, if a Sigma female is open and truthful about her experiences and beliefs, it might highlight the discrepancies in someone else's behavior who is pretending to be something they're not. The contrast between her genuine nature and others' inauthenticity can lead to a defensive reaction, as people might feel criticized or called out for not being true to themselves. Moreover, this discomfort is not necessarily due to any direct criticism from the Sigma female, but rather from the inherent challenge her authenticity presents. It compels others to question their own integrity and confront the gaps between their outward personas and inner selves, which can be an unsettling and defensive experience. Number 9, self-promotion dilemma. Sigma. Females often face a self-promotion dilemma because their success tends to come without the usual fanfare and self-promotion that many rely on for career advancement. This approach can inadvertently undermine conventional methods of gaining recognition and influence, making those who depend on such strategies feel insecure or threatened. Picture someone who consistently achieves remarkable results through their work and personal efforts, yet doesn't engage in the typical self-promotional tactics like boasting about their accomplishments or constantly seeking validation. Instead, their achievements speak for themselves. They might not be the loudest in meetings or the first to share their successes on social media, but their work quietly stands out. This ability to succeed without overt self-promotion challenges the traditional norms where visibility and networking are often seen as essential to career advancement. For those who rely heavily on self-promotion, The Sigma female's approach can seem like a threat because it highlights an alternative path to success. It underscores that one can achieve significant accomplishments without the need for self-aggrandizement or aggressive networking, thereby questioning the effectiveness of traditional strategies. The discomfort arises when others see that success can be achieved through competence and quiet determination alone. This realization can provoke insecurity and defensiveness among those who have built their careers on self-promotion, as it forces them to reconsider their own methods and their reliance on external validation. Number 10. They turn insecurity into fuel, not fear. Sigma females have a unique way of handling insecurities that sets them apart from most people. Instead of letting their doubts and fears hold them back, they use them as fuel for growth. Where others may feel paralyzed by self-doubt, a Sigma female sees her insecurities as opportunities for improvement. She doesn't shy away from them, she faces them head-on, dissecting her weaknesses and using them as a roadmap for becoming stronger. This process of self-alchemy, turning perceived flaws into personal strengths, makes them even more formidable. For most people, insecurity is something to hide or avoid. They let fear of failure or judgment keep them from taking risks or challenging themselves. But Sigma females embrace the discomfort. They understand that growth doesn't come from staying in safe, familiar territory. By confronting what makes them feel vulnerable, they strip insecurity of its power, turning it into motivation rather than fear. This ability to push through self-doubt leaves others unsettled, especially those who prefer to stay in their comfort zones. What truly unnerves people about Sigma females is how their approach to insecurity reveals how limiting fear can be. When others see a Sigma female transform her weaknesses into strengths, it shines a spotlight on their own fear-driven stagnation. The Sigma female's resilience and willingness to face her flaws remind others of the potential they're not living up to, which can be deeply unsettling for those who are content with avoiding growth. In conclusion, Sigma females are seen as a threat because they challenge the status quo simply by being themselves. Their quiet confidence, independence, and refusal to conform make them stand out in a world that often rewards fitting in. They don't seek approval or validation, and that unnerves people who rely on external praise to feel significant. Sigma females expose the insecurities of others without even trying, and their ability to walk away from anything that doesn't serve them sends a powerful message. They cannot be controlled or manipulated. Their success, achieved on their own terms and without the need for attention, shames those who believe loudness equates to importance. They turn their insecurities into fuel, constantly growing and evolving, which highlights the stagnation in those who are too afraid to face their own fears. Ultimately, Sigma females are viewed as a threat, not because they are out to undermine anyone, but because they represent something rare and powerful, true self-reliance. They don't follow the rules others are comfortable with, and in doing so, they disrupt the expectations that keep most people in check. It's this quiet defiance combined with their undeniable competence that makes them so intimidating. People fear what they can't control, and a Sigma female is the embodiment of that fear. Thank you, rare gems, for tuning in. Stay vigilant as always. See you in our next video. God bless you.